talk about the brain. Little quick thing about the brain. Why is it so important what we're doing here? So I talked about, in our vitality, there's 4 parts to that to keep ourselves really revved up, and there's a reason for that. In your brain, we have our reptilian part, so any messages and responses and stimuli that we get hits the reptilian part first. The reptilian is pretty easy, food and sex, that's all it is. Keep the world alive, keep the species going. If I can just keep that going, bang. Don't really use a lot of the reptilian at the moment. Next one, up to the limbic. Now the limbic system is the whole protection gig stays there. That's the, do I fight it? Do I freeze and look at it? Or do I flee and run away? That all happens in the limbic system. Now the limbic system uses very little energy. It's pretty well just sucks it up straight away. But this is the big stuff here. Prefrontal cortex, right at the very start of the big piece in the front of your brain. And it's the difference between us and other mammals. Because it's actually where we can think and strategize and plan. Now the problem with that is it uses a lot of fuel. It needs a lot of fuel. And that fuel is dopamine. Now this comes from Sue Langley. Sue Langley is a neuroscientist. She looked into this and worked out that this dopamine is really important. It's the fuel that we need. So with this fuel, it goes through the reptilian, it hits the limbic, and then if the limbic's on high, i.e. it's constantly on alert, it sucks all the fuel up and it doesn't leave any for the prefrontal cortex. I'll give you an example. Late at night, round about 6 or 7, we've had a long day. And then my wife would say to me, we're thinking about going on a holiday or something. Let's start planning that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't start thinking about that sort of stuff. And the reason why I can't think of that is what I'd say is DD, depleted dopamine. I had full day, pretty well exhausted, and it's not necessarily that we're just tired, but the prefrontal cortex hasn't got any fuel left, and what's happened is the limbic is taken and saying, let's just put a halt on this. Let's just freeze this and say it's not going to happen. But of course, let's start planning that holiday. And of course, the brain's just not functioning, I'm making suggestions and they're not very good. But as we said, when we're on holiday, plan away. It's fantastic, no problem. And there's a reason for that. And it looks